al-Kursi. And this grand ayah of the Quran, Sayyidu Ayat al-Quran, Sayyidatu Ayat al-Quran, the grand leader, the chief ayah of the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal describes some of His most fundamental qualities and how awesome He is, how magnificent He is, that there's no one worthy of worship or obedience in any way, shape or form except He is. Now you have to understand, Surah Al-Baqarah is a Makki surah, or Madani surah rather. The Prophet ﷺ already moved to Medina, and the Muslims, some of them have been Muslim from the very beginning, and some of them relatively new, but all of them understand the basics of Islam. And the most basic teaching of Islam is La ilaha illallah, right? It's the most basic teaching of Islam. And this far into the message of Islam, Allah chooses to reveal an ayah that goes back to the basics. This far in. This is should be like early Meccan Quran. You should be learning about La ilaha illallah. But Allahu la ilaha illahu comes, and these kinds of ayat come in Madani Quran. You know why? Because they're not just information, they're reminder. Because somebody could say La ilaha illallah and be a Muslim, but they're not conscious of what that really means. And so especially in the Madani Quran, when we hear ayat about Iman, when we hear ayat about Tawheed, they're actually a reminder to the Muslims that they need to refresh their Iman. They need to go back to those basics. That I need to hear La ilaha illallah as though I've never heard it before. I have to start over again. And this is one of the beautiful things in our faith is this tajdeedul iman, the revival of iman. Because our faith is not just an intellectual thing. Everybody knows La ilaha illallah. Everybody here knows it. There's no one in this audience that doesn't know La ilaha illallah. But you know what? Our hearts and our minds are two different things. The heart needs to be reminded of La ilaha illallah, so it's shaken by it. We don't feel La ilaha illallah sometimes. The ayat in Medina that remind us of Tawheed and remind us of Allah's attributes aren't just there to teach us, they're actually there to shake us up. Allah says, أَلَمْ يَأْنِ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبُهُمْ لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Isn't it yet time that the believers, their hearts should be full of fear from the remembrance of Allah? وَمَا نَزَلَ مِنَ الْحَقِّ. And because of whatever came down from the truth. Understand also that in Madani Quran, the word La ilaha illallah, obviously a negation of any form of shirk. That we shouldn't be associating partners with Allah. When the mushrikun of Makkah, the idol worshippers of Makkah thought about that, they thought this is negating their idols. This is negating the things that they worship, they have around the Kaaba. And Allah is saying none of those should be worshipped, only Allah should be worshipped. But when the same thing is being said to the Muslims in Medina, there are no idols. What idols are there? There's no shirk going on. So and by the way, every time La ilaha illallah is mentioned, every time it's mentioned, it's supposed to destroy some form of shirk. It gets rid of shirk. That's part of the definition of the statement. So there is another kind of shirk in Medina, a hidden kind of shirk. There's an obvious kind of shirk in Makkah. It's those idols, you can see them right in front. Al-Lat, Al-Manat, Al-Uzza. Allah mentions them by name. But on the other hand, you have another kind of shirk creeping into what is supposed to be a believing community. And this hidden form of shirk, the Quran calls it nifaq, hypocrisy. And so just like the outside shirk has to be destroyed by what? La ilaha illallah. Just like that, the inside shirk will be destroyed by La ilaha illallah. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa. Al-Hayyul Qayyum, the living, the source of all life, the maintainer of all things, and the source of all things that stand, all things that exist. When somebody internalizes that, you know what they realize? No matter how much I think I have accomplished, none of that was me. All of that was Allah. I have no credit. I take no credit. That is entirely given by Allah Azza wa Jal. There are so many more people that are more qualified than I am, that are more intelligent than I am, that are better spoken than I am, that Allah will not give opportunity to, and there are so many more that are much less qualified than I am, and Allah will give them way more opportunities than me, because He's the source. When you realize He's Al-Hayy, then you realize that your life isn't actually yours. It's not yours. It's a gift given by Allah, which means it can be taken at any moment because He's Al-Hayy. He's the eternally living. He's the one maintaining that life. Al-Qayyum. And if He's the one maintaining it, لَا تَأْخُذُهُ سِنَةٌ وَلَا نَوْمٌ. Anyone else, any other living thing needs sleep, needs rest, needs downtime. Sleep doesn't get a hold of him. No slumber or sleep. He doesn't get drowsy. He doesn't get sleepy. لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. This is, by the way, it comes up so much in the Quran, we don't even think about it. He keeps saying He owns everything in the skies and the earth. He owns everything in the skies and the earth. By the way, He says He owns everything in the skies and the earth, or whatever lies in the skies and the earth exclusively. He is the only owner of the skies and the earth. You know when you buy your house and your name's on the title, it says owner and it says your name. When you pay off your, let's just say, Islamic mortgage, and you finally get the deed, and it says owner of the property and your name, just right on top of that, لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. It ain't mine. That's His. It's His. Who remembers that? Who thinks when they go into their car, this is not my car? Who thinks when they go into their closet and they're putting their clothes on, these aren't my clothes? This is given to me. Who looks at their hand and doesn't think this is my hand? It's not my hand. It's a gift that I didn't pay for. I didn't pay for it. He owns everything in the skies and the earth. Thinking about that will change the way you live.